All right, so let's begin with number 5. I think you guys have already seen my answer for number 5 and number 6. Okay, now let me explain number 5. Now, number 5, again, it's about simultaneous equations. If x, y is equal to 2 and 3, um, is a solution of the equations ax plus by equals 1 and ay minus bx equals 8, find the value of a and of b. Okay, so basically, class, x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3 for this question. Now, it says that these two numbers here is a solution for the simultaneous equations. So that means that all the x and y values here are equal to 2 and 3. That's what it means. Okay? So the question here is we need to find the value of a and b. Now, first things first, we need to substitute all the x and y's here by 2 and 3. So that's what I did, and this is how I end up with. Okay, so I got 2a plus 3b equals 1, and then 3a minus 2b equals 8. So this is what I got after I have substituted all the x and y values from the simultaneous equations. All right, and then what's next? After that, okay, so it's pretty similar to solving simultaneous equations. So it's up to you whether you want to use substitution or elimination. Okay, so for me, I'll use elimination because I have here some positive and negative b's, um, which I can just multiply and produce opposites, right? Okay, so I'll multiply my first equation by 2. So I'll get 4a plus 6b equals 2, right? And then I'll multiply my second equation by 3. So I'll get 3a minus 2b equals 8. So I'll get 9a minus 6b equals 24. Okay, so any question? Okay, so from there, I now have opposites that are eliminated, right? And then you add the two equations. So 4 plus 9a is 13a. Of course, 2 and 24 is equal to 26. So therefore, a is equal to 2. Any question, class? All right, none? All right. Now, how do we solve for b? So same like before, you just choose either the first or the second equation. Okay, so for me, again, I want my work to be easier. So I'll go for the one with the smaller numbers. Okay, so 4a plus 6b equals 2. So that's what I use. Okay, so instead of 4a, it's now 4 times 2 because a is equal to 2. And then plus 6b equals 2. All right, any question on this part? All right, now, so after this, you just evaluate everything. Okay, and then b is equal to negative 1. So that's my answer for number 5. Okay, any questions, class, for number 5? Okay, none? All right, now let's jump to number 6. Now, number 6 is also different. Okay, number 6, if xy is equal to p3, and then p3 is a solution of the equations 3x plus 2y equals 6, and then x minus qy equals 2. Find the value of p and of q. All right, so this is different from number 5 because unlike number 6, we now have a variable. Okay, so we have p. So the question here is, what is the value of p and q? Okay, so first things first, p is x, 3 is y, right? So first step is to change the x and y's into p and 3, all right? So for my first equation here, so it became this one. So 3p, because x is equal to p, plus 2 times 3 equals 6, all right? And then for my second equation, it is p minus 3q equals 2. All right, do you guys have any question on this part here? Okay. So I just substituted all the x and y into p and 3's. Okay, so after this, what's after this? Now, looking at my first equation, okay, of course, we are trying to solve for the value of p and q. Looking at my first equation, I only have one variable here, which is p, right? If I evaluate this, I'll end up with 3p is equal to 0. So therefore, p is equal to 0. So that's it right away. So p is equal to 0, right? Okay, so that's my p. And then for my q, or for the value of q, use your second equation here. And then, of course, knowing p is equal to 0, this one is basically no more, right? No more p. So you just bring down negative 3qn 2. So therefore, q is negative 2/3. And that's it. All right, for number 6. Okay, any question, class, for number 6? Hmm? Any question for number 6? All right, none? No question, class, for number 6? Okay, then. All right, so that's it for our short revision with simultaneous equation. It's the basic stuff, class. All right, now let's go to the actual topic for this chapter, which is simultaneous equations with linear and non-linear equations. Okay, of course, if it's linear, it's a line, right? But if it's non-linear, it's either a curve or it can be a circle, like that. All right. So what if, okay, what if a curve and a line intersects? Okay. So how many points do you think there is? Unlike, because if you have two lines, you only produce one answer, right? X and Y, correct? And then what if you have a curve and a line? So how many points do you produce? So you produce 2 points. So you have two sets of X and Y. And that's what we are going to do for today. What if a line and a curve or maybe a circle intersects? Okay, so how can we find this two equations right here, right? So let's try to have one example. All right, so this one, of course, it came from the book. So here is example number 2. So here is y squared plus 2x plus 3 squared equals 10, and then you have 2x plus y equals 1. Now, looking at the first equation, class, what do you think is this? If you type this on Desmos, what shape will it create? What do you think? Any guesses for the first one? All right, so for the first equation, so I have typed this in Desmos already. So let's try to view the equation and let's see what shape will it make. All right, so the first equation created this is not a circle, this is an ellipse. So that's a special shape. In some terms, it's an oblong, but in mathematics, we call it an ellipse. An ellipse is an oval, okay? So yeah, so we have an ellipse here. Okay, so basically the second one is a linear equation. So if I view the second equation, it will intersect the ellipse at exactly 2 points, right? So here are your, basically these are your answers. 0, 1, and negative 1 and 3. Easy as that, right? So we can show the students right away on Desmos. All right, but the question is, how can we solve this two pairs of points here by algebra? Okay, that's the challenge here. Because by graphing, we can show or we can see the answers right away. So how do we solve this algebraically? So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so going back here, so please listen carefully, class, because this is very new. Okay, so how do we solve for those 2 points? Again, we need to have 2 points, not only one x and y. We have two x's and two y's on this one. Because again, we have 2 points here. Okay, we have 2 points. Negative 1, 3, and 1. How can we get those 2 points or two sets of points? Okay, so first things first. This is basically by substitution class. All right, so I'll go ahead with the second equation. All right, and then I'll do this by substitution, and then I'll make y the subject of the formula. So you see what I did here, class? So basically, I made y the subject of the formula and put 2x to the other side. Why this is now 1 minus 2x. And that's it. Okay? That's it. All right. So that's it for my second equation. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to substitute this here in place of y. All right? So if you replace that, right, I think I didn't write the equation right. Okay, so let me just write it again. Okay, so for this, the first equation, it's y squared plus 2x plus 3 squared equals 10. Okay, all right. So again, this now will be substituted to y. Okay, so now after you have done that, y becomes 1 minus 2x squared. Okay, so y becomes y minus 2x squared. Okay, of course, you will still retain the square here. Okay, any question, class? All right, none? And then you just bring down this 2. Okay, so we're here. So we're here now, okay? So what's next? Basically, class, you need to expand and simplify. So how do you expand this? It's basically 1 minus 2x times 1 minus 2x, okay? And then once you do that, you'll get 1 minus 4x plus 4x squared. Okay. And then for the second one, 2x plus 3 squared, so it's the same. So 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. So once you answer that, you will get 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Okay. And then, of course, bring down 10. Okay. So equals 10. All right. So what's after this one? So we combine like terms. So you have 4x squared and 4x squared. It's equal to 8x squared. And then we have negative 4x and then 12x. So negative 4 plus 12, it's 8x. And then 1 plus 9 is equal to what? It's equal to 10, right? 10. So 10, and then you have another 10 here on the right side. So basically, class, if you have 10 on the left side and then you transpose it here, it will become 10 minus 10, making it 0, right? So we have this now. So 8x squared plus 8x equals 0. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, none? No question. Now, how do we solve for x or x's? Okay. So we have 8x squared plus 8x equals 0. So what do we do? So we factor out what? What is common? 8x. Your common factor is 8x because of course you have 8 and then you have x squared and x. So therefore your common factor is 8x. And then dividing this by 8x, you'll get x plus 1. 8x squared divided by 8x. So 8 gets canceled. So x and then x gets canceled here. So you still have x. That's why this is x, right? Or simply 8x squared divided by 8x. So this is simply x, right? Cancel 8, cancel the 2 here. So this is gets canceled. So it's only x. And then 8x divided by 8x. So they're the same. So it's equal to 1. And that equals 0. So what's next? So equate each term by 0. So 8x equals 0, this one. And then x plus 1 equals 0, this one. So therefore, the values of your x are 0 and negative 1. Okay, so that's how I got those two values of x. Okay, any question, class? And also, I have written down this note here. Since you have two values of x, therefore, you also have two values for y. Okay, so going back to Desmos, so you have -1 and 0 as your x. So we have 0 and -1, so we are correct. Now, how do we solve for the values of y? Where are the values of y? Okay, so for the values of y, we go back to the second equation, to the other equation. Okay, so here we made y is equal to 1 minus 2x. So I'll use that to solve for the values of y here. Okay, so again, you need to do it twice because you have two values of x. So when x is 0 and then when x is -1. Okay, so when x is 0, what is y? So using the same formula here, y is equal to 1 minus 2x, right? So therefore, if x is 0, so this is basically gone. So y is equal to 1, all right? So that's my first point, 0 and 1, or 0, 1. You can just write it like this, okay? So that's how I got 0 and 1. And then for my second point, when x is equal to -1, so x here becomes -1. So simplifying this, your answer is y is equal to 3. So therefore, my second point is -1 and 3. All right, so let's check again in Desmos if we got the same answer. All right, so we got the same answer. So we have yes. Oh wait. Okay. So we have 1 and -1 and 3 here, and then we have 0 and 1 over here. So yeah, so we have solved those 2 points by doing some algebra. Okay, so yeah, that's it for my first example. So always go first with the linear one, and then what else one? You make either x or y the subject. Now, obviously, for number one, let's say I have 2x plus y equals 4. I'll make y the subject because it's much simpler, right? So y is equal to 4 minus 2x. So that's it, right? That's for my y equation. And then what I'll do next is to put this on the other equation, the one that you did not choose, okay, the one that you ignored. Okay, so that's what you need to do next. All right, I'll use blue for that one. Okay, so for this one, so y squared minus 4x equals 0, right? So instead of y, of course, this is now your y value. So I'll use red for that. So y is now 4 minus 2x. But then don't forget the square outside. Okay, and then minus 4x equals 0. All right, so, and then how do you evaluate from here? Okay, how do you solve it from here? All right, so I'll stop right here and then you guys do the rest. All right, for number one and number two. Class, just finish number 1. Okay, try to finish number 1. All right, so it's 2:30. All right, Mr. Ronalds is already in the waiting room. Okay, guys, so these are my answers. I'll just explain this tomorrow. Basically, again, you can view the answers right away by using Desmos, right? This one. So our answer should be 1, 2, and 4, -4. And that's what I get as my final answer.